How's it going, everyone? So I left up a poll a few days ago on my community tab asking if you guys wanted to see review videos, and a lot of you voted that you did want to see that. So this is my first attempt at one of those kind of videos on this channel, and I'm going to just see how the format works out, or at least the one I'm using right now. This might kind of change in the future if I keep doing these. I'm basically just going to be giving a stream of my thoughts. No scripting or wacky editing. I want this to just be kind of a genuine feeling review so it doesn't sound like I'm robotic reading off a script. I just wrote down a few notes about what I think, and I'm just going to be discussing all those here. So obviously, as you could tell by the title, this is going to be a review of Joker. So I wanted to wait a few days before doing this review, wanted to let it sit and get my fully formed opinions out, and now I think it's been long enough since I saw it. I saw it on Friday, like the day after it came out, and I think it's been long enough for me to actually formulate some solid opinions on it. But yeah, as for the movie itself, it is worth mentioning too that this isn't an ordinary comic book movie. And I'm not talking about that like because it's the perspective of a villain in this one rather than a hero. It's just like a completely different format of it. This is a sort of character study rather than being some sort of action-y movie or something like that where there's a clear hero and villain and they're trying to stop the villain from achieving their goals or whatever, or vice versa. It's not like any of that. This is a completely character-driven movie, and it's meant to just look at the Joker as a character, Arthur Fleck, and see what he goes through in life that actually makes him become the Joker. One of my favorite parts of this movie, I think I could definitely say, is Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. I mean, he does an amazing job playing the character and making him feel like a real guy, and he doesn't portray him in a completely outlandish way that makes it seem like he's trying too hard, but he also doesn't just phone in the performance and make it like a boring character. All his mannerisms, his way of moving and talking, all that kind of stuff, it really plays into making the character feel realistic and adds to the personality of him, since he does a really good job portraying that. Arthur Fleck is a guy suffering from trauma and multiple mental illnesses, and Phoenix does a great job at portraying that. To me, all of the actors and actresses in this movie did a really great job. And another one that I thought did well was Robert De Niro as, his name's like Murray or something. He's the late night show host. Kind of like a Jimmy Kimmel, Jay Leno, one of those kind of guys. He basically plays that character, and he does a really good job at doing that too and makes himself look like a believable late night talk show host. Besides the actors, I want to talk about the script too. Let's talk about a bit of the direction and scripting, because I feel like those are really strong points as well. Todd Phillips, I didn't really know what to expect from him, but he did a great job at directing this movie, and he obviously had some sort of vision for it, and he was able to play that out pretty well. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking, but the techniques he uses for his direction were actually a lot better than you'd see in any sort of other comic book movie, and it's more artistic and meaningful than what you'd see in those kind of things. Like I said, nothing extraordinary, but it's really great considering that this is just, a comic book character. And it also adds to the fact that this movie is just really a character study like that. He uses interesting angles and shot composition that you wouldn't see in those other kind of action movies, and that's why I think not being one of those sort of action movies really helps this movie. The movie's really good at making tension, something that I really didn't expect from it, and right away it's able to make this sort of atmosphere and make you feel like you're actually in Gotham, kind of experiencing the stuff that Joker's going through. As for the scripting and the story, I thought the story was pretty okay. Actually, better than okay. It was pretty good. I feel like some of the things that ended up happening were sort of unrealistic, but other than that, the things that do happen in this movie are pretty eventful for the most part, and they play into how Arthur's character slowly devolves into the Joker. And it's really cool because you can gradually see him getting closer and closer to that point of becoming that. I mean, I won't go into detail about it because that'll be spoilers, but you see all the different things he goes through, and slowly you see it affecting him mentally, physically, all that kind of stuff. Just through the changes in his mannerisms, his speech, his actions, all that stuff. And you see why and how he becomes the way he is. And overall, that ends up culminating into a really cool ending scene, or sequence of ending scenes. That was really good for me. The ending was probably the best part for me. It starts off as a bit of a slow burn, but eventually it gets better and better and more intriguing as it goes on. But I feel like that's kind of expected. I mean, it is meant to be a character study after all, so that's not really that surprising. So with that brief overview out of the way, I think it's time we give this movie a solid rating overall. So for me, I thought the movie was really good. The way it looks into Arthur's character devolving and all the events around him, the way it's sort of set up to be atmospheric and make you feel like you're there experiencing the stuff, it does a really good job at that and evoking some sort of emotions within whoever's watching it. At least for me, it did that. Without going into too much detail, some of the things felt kind of unrealistic or forced, like they weren't really supposed to be there. Specifically, the Joker's meeting of some character who doesn't really end up being that important in the movie. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, probably. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have any gripes with the movie. Overall, it was really great, and it was well directed, the actors did a great job, the score was pretty good, and then the soundtrack along with it, the songs that they included in it, were pretty cool. I'm glad they played White Room at one point, because I really liked that song. But yeah, for me personally, I'd rate this movie as a 9 out of 10. It's not towards a 10 out of 10 because it is missing some stuff for me. I can't really put my finger on what, and alongside those issues that I did address before, and the fact that it's not really anything too groundbreaking, I feel like it stays away from a 10, but it's a solid 9. Not that 9 out of 10 is a bad score in any means necessary, that's an amazing score for it. And this movie really astonished me with how good it was, and is one of my favorite comic book movies, if not my favorite comic book movie of the last decade. And as for my favorite Joker, I'd still personally say Heath Ledger is my favorite, but Joaquin Phoenix comes really close to being my favorite. So that's pretty much all I had to say about it. I really suggest you guys go see it if you're into this kind of stuff. It's a really good movie. Even if you're not a comic book fan, you'll like this. So thank you for everyone who watched, and I hope you guys end up seeing it and enjoying it as much as I did. So leave your thoughts below about what you guys thought about the movie if you've already seen it. And if you like this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.